What's up, fam? You're now tuned into another episode of Ring King Boxing for the True Fight family. Chiming in on this one, man. This one's Haney, totally outclasses Kambosos for the lightweight unification and lightweight king of the division. Unifies the crown by convincing win over Georgie Kambosos. Listen, started up early, was really nice fight, man, in terms of Devin Haney put on a clinic, man. As you can see later on when he went from 2 on back, Devin Haney just got in his element. He was able to touch pop Kambosos anytime, just put on a really good clinic against Kambosos, kind of marked up his face, worked the jab to perfection in this fight, had a really sound game plan in this one as Devin Haney was able to take it, gets the unification crown. So congratulations to that brother and accomplishing that, man. And what a master class he put on in this fight. Really good fight. A lot of people were saying it was boring. It was boring if Kambosos was your guy and he was getting his ass whipped. He wasn't as active as he was supposed to be. But really, it was kind of an omen what happened yesterday, him missing weight, and doing and all of the talking. It was a bad sign. And Devin Haney was all about the business, and he took care of business. Went to Australia and beat Kambosos very convincingly. All he didn't do was knock him out. So he became an undisputed lightweight champion just late Saturday night, man, taking the crown. 28-0 with 15 knockouts. Excellent job with the pace, with the jab. It was a really good fight if you didn't get a chance to see it. And he accomplished it, man. He gives Kambosos his first loss of the year. And according to Bob Arum, they might the clause, the rematch clause in a convincing loss like this, with Kambosos losing like this, the second fight is not attractive to a lot of people who've seen the first fight. It was such a lopsided fight in terms of activity. And Devin Haney just took over the fight. And it was convincing, and the judges even had to do it. And this was the type of performance he needed to put on in Australia, based on prior situations. A lot of people were kind of looking at it saying, man, we need to kind of have more of a dominant win. And he did that. So credit to Haney. Kambosos will get another opportunity, and Arum is talking sometime in October, November for the second fight because there's a rematch clause in the agreement there. So a lot of people not happy about it. They would like to see a rematch if the fight's a lot closer, but this one, the judges gave it unanimously to Devin Haney in this one. So 116, 116, 112, 118, 110, and 116, 112 unanimously giving it to Devin Haney, who is the king at lightweight, gets all of the belts. So much love to that brother, man. He did a fantastic job. And as far as Kambosos is concerned, Kambosos is a good fighter. We're not going to take anything away from Kambosos. I said in the previous shows that I just thought that Devin Haney had the complete toolkit, and it was all about him having the perfect mind state to go into this fight and do what he need to do, as opposed to, knowing when to take his punches, being fundamental. He did that, and he overwhelmed George Kambosos. So I'm looking for a better effort from Georgie Kambosos on the rematch. So we'll see how it all goes moving down the line. So let's go ahead on, fam. We're gonna play some of what Kambosos was saying in the post-fight press conference. Here we go.
Hi, everybody. George, thanks so much for joining us, mate. Congratulations on the fight. You did put in a great effort and went all 12 rounds. It was an awesome fight to watch. Thank you for joining us as well. You never looked hurt throughout the fight. How did that feel? Because the last couple of rounds you didn't seem to want to engage. Was that frustrating for you? How are you feeling about the fight from an analysis point at this stage?
Yeah, look, I felt I hurt him a few times, but that's his game. He likes to run and move, and if he feels that he's ahead on the scorecards, he'll do his thing. But I'm not going to take away from his night. I've been there before when Lopez did that to me, so I'd be a piece of shit if I'd done that to him. But there is a few things where I thought, they were should have been pulled up. But all the best to him. He's the champion now, from what the judges said, and we do it again.
Was this?
Do you agree with the cards?
I felt the fight was very close. From what I've been told, I outlanded him, I outpunched him. You saw the fight, so he had a jab, but there wasn't much else. I think he might have landed one or two right hands, but that's about it. There was really nothing else. So I don't feel, my body does not feel like I've been through a 12-round war like I was with a Lopez fight, because we went through it. So that's just a few marks. But if you jumped in there with me too, you'll be the same. Hey, look, I'm the man in the arena. At the end of the day, I made this happen. If I didn't choose this, to protect records, I could have fought an easy fight. And look at me, I knocked someone out in 2 rounds. But I take the risk, and that's part of the risk. You take risk, you reap reward. But it was his night tonight, and all the best. And you sure that the adversity that I've got to go through now, I'll be back hungrier than ever.
It might be tough to ask this question now, Georgie, but stylistically, have you got thoughts on what you need to change up to beat him in a rematch?
Yeah, I know what I've got to do to beat him in the rematch. We had them game plans. Unfortunately, just we couldn't implement the way we wanted to. The ref did let a few things go as well, which should have been, pulled up a touch. But it is what it is. I'll go back to the drawing board with my team, and congratulations to Devin Haney and his team for the win. They came all the way out here, like I did with Lopez, and they got the win today. But I'll be back.
Do you expect a rematch? And if so, when and where would you like to have it?
As soon as possible. Do it tomorrow if you want. I feel great. So it is what it is. And hopefully by the end of the year, November, we do it again.
100%.
Look, I gave him the shot. No one else was going to give him a shot. There was too much politics involved for him and Lopez and him and Lomachenko. I straight away was a man of my word, and I said, okay, let's just make sure it made sense. Obviously, he's going to want to make sure it makes sense on his end, but let's get it done. And let's give the fans a great fight. Let's fight.
George, where did it go wrong for you, and do you feel you were as sharp as you were against Lopez?
Yeah, look, I was sharp in points. I landed some very good shots. I hurt him a few times. Felt like every time I landed clean, he was hurt. So, he just fought his game off that jab. He just boxed off that jab and did his holding. He did hold a lot. He did get low. Every time I tried to exchange, he held and dropped into that hip. So it is what it is.
Yeah, but there's no excuses. No excuses.
Did he do anything you didn't expect in there or didn't plan for?
Yeah. Look, I thought he would have fought a little bit more, but he's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong, he's a good fighter. This is a high level, it was a high level chess match. I tried to make it a little bit more aggressive. He boxed his fight, and the judges had him the winner tonight, and all respect to him and his team. And this is boxing. Like I said, I'm here never to protect the record. I've had a hard journey, as we know. We've been through the hardest journey, I feel, in boxing, and I'll give him his applause tonight. Humble in defeat, and in victory as well.
George, would you like to fight? George, would you like to fight in Sydney, in your hometown, maybe the new stadium?
I think the way that and Lou and Bob can probably answer this one. I think we'll be back here in Melbourne, but I love Melbourne. Look at the crowd today. Look at the fans behind me, and even after the defeat, they all stood there and were so applauding of the fight. So I love that. I respect that so much, and thank you to the fans and to the media and everybody here today. And I'm very proud to have brought a great fight in Australian boxing.
That's George Kambosos, fam, breaking down his thoughts on the fight. No, George, you weren't winning on the points, bro. Like I said, I think fighting at that level, we've seen many examples over time of people getting the belts and then just going absolutely bonkers with it, man. Letting the champion mindset of being a champion go to their head, where they get kind of goofy or off kiltered. They kind of lose a lot of that hungriness when they get that belt. They climb to the top of the mountain, and once they get up there, they kind of just settle in, and then of course they lose a little of that ferocity. We've seen that happen with Andy Ruiz when he was able to get the belts from Anthony Joshua in the heavyweight division, and then in the rematch he was heavier than hell, couldn't perform, and he just fell straight down into the ground in terms of his career and trying to fight his way back. Even with when Teofimo was able to beat Lomachenko and take the belts, and I was really happy for Teo, but I did not like or respect his short reign with the belts as then George Kambosos took it from him after a year of so whatever it was, almost 2 years, I want to say, family, of him holding down the belts with having injuries, excuses, lying, saying he was supposed to fight this guy and not fight that guy. But at the end of the day, Kambosos did give Devin Haney the opportunity to fight. He was trying to get Loma, but Loma, it was politics tied to what was going on with the war. That wasn't something that was feasible. And Devin Haney was the next man up. Haney met all of the requirements that the team Kambosos and wanted him to do. He went and fought in a hostile environment. He took the Australian people who supported Kambosos, took him on out of it. And as you hear, a lot of the language that was put in the agreement would then have the rematch in Australia again, which it really should fall in the lap of what Devin Haney wants to do with it. But this is why a lot of this stuff is foolishness to me. The champion, he took your damn belts. He should decide where he wants to fight. But then again, we'll see how it all shakes. But what we're hearing from Bob Arum is that the fight, the rematch, and he's not really excited about it because of how the fight played out. If it was a closer fight, Bob Arum would be a lot more excited about it. But it forces a rematch to occur, and they're saying anywhere between October and November of this year. So, and if you look at Lomachenko's face, is marked up pretty good. And Devin Haney worked the hell out of him with the jab, and that's what it came down to, fam. So really interesting watching the fight, man, to be honest with you. But a lot of people were making the comments, and I wasn't trying to put down Georgie Kambosos. What I was saying was styles make fights, man. I used to box, and I understand that it's harmony in there, and styles make fights. Certain fighters can pose problems for you because of their styles and how they come into the fight and how you need to prepare for them and what you need to do. And it's a chess match in there. And if you can't determine how you want to be able to defeat, how you're going to be able to come up with a stratagem, not only figure it out, but be able to execute it in the ring. And then you have to be able to do that because you kind of on a clock right there, because if you don't gain a rhythm on your opponent more than likely will gain a rhythm on you. And that's what Devin Haney did. Not only did he start gaining a rhythm, he started finding the shots. Then his confidence got there, the speed got behind it. And once he got to that position, it was over with. And then you could see the momentum shifted early in the fight, and you could see that he was in cruise control, and there was nothing Kambosos could do about that. So in the rematch, I don't know what Kambosos can do in the fight against Devin Haney. He would, do his best, but I'm thinking he would hope that Devin Haney would then have somewhat of a. Let's see how Haney handles the unification as the king of the ring. Now listen, when Teofimo had it, he would discount or disparage Haney's belt. They all did that. Oh, that's not the red belt and all this kind of stuff. But listen, now this guy, Haney, has unified the lightweights. And when we talk in unification, fam, that is a special thing in boxing. Listen, let me tell you something. To be the king of the division is special, man. And when you have a unification fight, it's always exciting, no matter what division it's in boxing or what class or weight it's in. If you got guys and they unify, that is the toughest thing in the world to do. And when it happens, man, it's special. And you would love to be a part of that boxing history. So big ups to the fam staying up with me late at night to watch the fight. Big ups to the fam. Brother Tori, I see you. John, much love to you. And much love to the fam. Terry, how you doing, fam? Appreciate you being here as well. Now, also, like we talked about it, I wonder if I don't want to take too many shots at Kambosos because I like Kambosos. I really do. I wonder if this is part of his strategy here. If this is a deception to make Devin Haney think that he's the champion, so that in the second fight, when they rematch and come back at that thing, he can catch him slipping to get the belts back. So, I wonder if that's a part of his strategy. But shout out to Kambosos, man. For real, man. And like I said, unification is tough, man. And the man was able to do it. So credit be to him, man, for what he did in the ring, man. So very tough fight for George Kambosos. Styles make fights, my friend. And this one here ended in the way that we kind of thought it would, man. We knew that Haney had the potential to do it. It was all up to Kambosos how he was going to execute that thing. So in the end, uh, it went the way a lot of people thought it was going to end. And like I've said, fam, unification it's a hard thing to do. But anyway, with that being said, we looking at the rematch, and believe it or not, this is supposed to be a rematch. This will be this fight will be fought again. Part two of it ends somewhere between October and November, and that's right around the time frame that we're supposed to have unification for the welterweight division, which that is the, I ain't gonna say it's the next big fight, because we still know that the heavyweights coming back around. We seen Tyson Fury dispatched what's his name, the brother, what's his name, I can't think of his name right now. I can see his face right there, but we see Tyson Fury easily dispatched the brother out there. Y'all feel in the chat, let me know. I can see his faces. I'm just drawing blanks. It's kind of late right now, but he dispatched them with ease and said that he's retired. And of course, Deontay Wilder made his statement. We covered that he's going to come back and get active in the division. But you got to remember, Joe Joyce is climbing up them rankings too. So that could be interesting to see a potential fight if it's Deontay Wilder coming back against a Joe Joyce, or he might want to take a softer opponent because he hadn't fought in a while to kind of get what it feels like to get a win again, and then go for a guy like Joe Joyce, who's a terrific up and coming fighter right there. He's primed for a big shot. And then of course you look at guys like Anthony Joshua. He has a bout against Alexander Usyk that's supposed to be coming up soon, and there are some other great fights. But as far as the Crawford and Spence fight, ESPN reported that they are agreeing on the fight where it's going to be in Las Vegas. They also talked about the time frame, somewhere in October when they're looking at the fight. Then I guess they would then have to work out the money, and people were asking me whether or not this is just another game. I'm like, nah. Between Crawford and Spence, there's nowhere else to go. There's no more belts to chase. It's now those guys on the collision course. And as far as Spence is concerned, he's got 3 belts, and Crawford has 1. There's no other street to turn down. It's one-way street, and they're both aiming at each other for unification, which would be another stellar fight. And like I said, that would be a trilogy. That would be like one of those great fights that we seen back in the day. Some of the greater trilogy fights that you can think about, like when Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier went at it and stuff like that. So, I mean, you can anticipate greatness there. But in terms of this fight, Devin Haney was able to just handle the business, man, to be honest with you. He handled the business. He went in there with workman precision. He was able to use work behind a very stern jab, a shotgun jab, as the late, great Eddie Too Mean Johnson, my co-host, used to say, a shotgun jab. He worked behind a shotgun jab that battered and bruised George Kambosos for most of the night. And then he put together some combinations, was able to slide out of the way at times. He knew when to kind of pop Kambosos and just slide and grab him and hold him. And then that would frustrate, and you can see Kambosos begin to get frustrated around this 5th and 6th and 7th round when Haney was able to keep doing that. He got whatever he wanted against Kambosos, and he knows that he would have to kind of up his game to get back up in that thing. But like I said, when we seen what happened in the weigh-in the other day, it was totally ridiculous and stupid how he didn't make weight, and it was a bad sign, a bad omen, to be honest with you, of how that happened, and it didn't end well for him in the fight. So he'll have an opportunity, thanks for the clause written in the agreement, to have a rematch that is supposed to be sometime in October or November, according to Bob Arum. So we'll see how that all shakes moving down the line. So much love to the fam. Thank y'all for staying up late with this one, man. It's intriguing, man, as well. So yeah, John says Kellerman can't talk down on this man no more. You can't. It's unification, fam. It's not too many people reach unification, and the lightweight's a very good division. The welters, we know about that, and there's several other really class divisions out there. When you have a multiple belt champion and then they're going for unification, that's greatness. That's a stake on their legacy. You know, that's putting themselves up in boxing history of some of the greatest fighters that really did unification. That mean you mastered. You went to the top of the mountain and you dominated the class that you was in. And Devin Haney was a guy we knew we had potential. We often talked about Devin Haney on here and Shaquille Stevenson, the Charlo boys who were fighting for respect, fighting to get opportunities to have these chances. And when the circumstances worked out for the Charlos, when the circumstances worked out for Haney and the rest of the guys like Tank Davis and the rest of these guys, look what they did when they got in the spotlight. A lot of people talked about some of the other fights, some of the lazier fights that Haney didn't do. But like I told you, if you're a great fighter or a really good fighter that's looking for greatness, when the moment comes, the great moment comes, you will meet it. The excitement of you saying, yes, now I can finally show them what I can do. So when people were kind of looking at Devin Haney and saying that Devin Haney was this and he was that, he lacks this, like that. I've heard people say that, yeah, Q, he doesn't even have any knockout power, despite the fact that the kid has 28 fights with 15 knockouts. I mean, he has no knockout powers, but he knocked out 15 of the 28 fighters that he's fought. So, I mean, you make that make sense to me. But in the end of the day, all the hate don't mean a hill of beans, because Devin Haney is the undisputed lightweight champion. He unified that sucker, going to Australia in hostile environment in unanimous fashion, beats George talking Kambosos, because Kambosos can talk his ass off, man. He really could. He pump it up. But it might have been part of that was a lot of nervous energy too, man. You hear me? I'm thinking that might have been a lot of nervous energy that Kambosos was kind of spreading out over that thing, man. I'm gonna just keep it trailing the buck with you. So anyway, it's gonna be fine, man. At the end of the day, man, watching this. But I'm trying to see if wait for to hear from we heard from Kambosos a few minutes ago. We was trying to see if wait for Devin Haney to get up there, but boy, Devin Haney is enjoying himself, man, and celebrating, and he should, man, with all of the stuff, man. And let me just say, it's inspiring, man, because you've seen what the brother had to go through, hostile environment. His dad wasn't allowed there in the last minute. He had certain members of his team that he uses weren't allowed to be there. You know, all kind of stuff. And despite all the adversity that he had to go through, he still shined like a light in those tough times. And you got to respect that, you know. So I'll give a shout out to Kambosos, man, because Kambosos did get a man an opportunity for the fight, but Haney showed up and showed out. And Kambosos can come back on the rematch and see if he can kind of get his belts back against Devin Haney somewhere between October and November. So with that being said, man, it's all good. What's up, brother Derek? How you doing, man? Thank y'all for joining me for a late edition of Ring Kings Boxing, man. But really fun. I just wanted to drop it on the family and hear from it. But let's hear from for Bob Arum and Lou DiBella as they're talking about the fight, and then we'll think Haney is supposed to be coming up soon. Once we hear him, then we'll dirk out from the stream. So here we go on Bob Arum and Lou DiBella talking about the fight.
No, it's similar in the United States because we're sort of a niche sport there too, aren't we?
Not really, not with the minority groups. What has really helped develop and kept boxing very prominent in the United States is that with the young demographics, Hispanics and African Americans, boxing is hugely popular, and that has meant the survival of the sport in the United States. That's
immigrants in general now. You when you have a wave of poor people from Eastern Europe coming in, you see poor kids from Eastern Europe fighting. You know,
unless they're with Putin and fighting for Russia.
They're ready?
He's on his way now.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi. Back to women's boxing. I was just wondering, when are you guys ever going to put the 5-time world Australian woman Susie Q Ramadan ever on the world big stage?
Susie had contacted both Bob and myself about being on the card. She's certainly worthy of being on a big card like this. You notice that the female fight on the card was 5 rounds. You'll also notice we had to do fights at 9 o'clock in the morning and then 3 fights after the main event. So there wasn't enough rounds here. Ladies and gentlemen, the new undisputed lightweight champion of the world.
All right, fam. Haney's coming up next, fam, on this, and then we'll hear with Devin Haney, new unified champion. Here we go.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
First off, I want to thank Allah. Alhamdulillah. Without Allah, none of this would have happened. I want to thank Melbourne, all the people in Melbourne that came out, all the people in Australia that came out in general. It was a hell of a turnout. When I came out, it was crazy. I looked around, I was like, damn. And then when I seen all the fire, I'm like, let's go. It's time to go to work. So thank you all the media. Thank you everybody. Thank you George for this opportunity. A lot of these guys at the top, they wouldn't give me my shot. I've been begging for my shot for a long time now. And I finally got my shot, and I got a lot of jury here.
Devin, it's amazing what you've done here tonight. It was an incredible show. Thank you so much for coming out and putting on that performance. You got a lot of hardware, and most importantly, you got your father next to you, which was a wonderful thing to see happen. How important was that for you in your corners during the fight?
Yeah, more importantly, more than anything, more than the belts or anything, I wanted to go in the war with my father. Whether it was for 1 belt, 2 belts, however many belts, it was more important for my dad to be there, and it was a blessing that he was able to come in the day before the fight. So it was a hell of an experience. I'm happy that me and him accomplished this together. We've talked about this since we was 8, 9 years old. So this is a dream come true for the both of us.
How difficult was it to keep George off you? You did have a lot of success with the jab all throughout the fight. How difficult was it to keep him off you? Because he does fight at a high pace and he does throw pretty quick.
I wouldn't say it was hard to keep him off of me. Honestly, I just was staying relaxed.
He does throw pretty quick.
I could have picked it up, but I just wanted to I knew that I was in his backyard, so I just wanted to stay smart and fight my fight. So it really wasn't. It was more like when I wanted to fight, I was fighting at my rhythm and taking away his best attributes, and that's what I did. I wouldn't say that he had anything that was like, he never showed that he was like on me. So for you to say, oh, to keep him off of you, that's like kind of like left field.
Devin, you're obviously a big 135-pounder. Do you think he'll stay and defend these belts, or is going up a consideration as well?
I mean, I got to talk with my dad, Bob, Top Rank, and see what's next, what makes the most sense.
George didn't make the weight.
Yeah.
Is he gonna make the weight?
But at the end of the day, I'm a disciplined fighter, and but everything got to make sense. At the end of the day, this is a business. But the world knows me, and they know my character, and I'm not ducking or dodging nobody. But everything got to make sense. I am a huge 135-pounder, but I want to give my nutritionist James Lockwood his flowers, because I hired him in the beginning of camp, and he made the weight cut so easy. I wouldn't even say it's a weight cut, because we just landed the plane perfectly. Like, it wasn't like I didn't have to use a sauna suit or a sauna. Normally I would use like the sauna suit, the bath. I didn't have to do none of that. We just worked out, ate healthy, and yeah. So thank you, James, for making this camp super easy for me.
Stylistically, Devin, it seems like your style is, something that George is going to struggle with unless he was to change something drastically. Do you think there's anything that George can throw at you that would help him win a rematch?
I mean, what kind of question is that? Like, like what would
I say? Differently.
What would I say? Oh yeah, he could, if he does this, he could win the rematch. Like, come on now. No, there's nothing that he could do to you maybe have success better in a rematch, but win, that's like left field once again. But he, at the end of the day, he has to go back to the drawing board and make adjustments. I can't really say what exactly, because anything that he does, I'm gonna be prepared for. Like I said, before the fight, he was saying a lot, but I said I will handicap him of his best attributes, and that's what I did. He really didn't land any clean, solid shots, and yeah. And if you look at my face right here, obviously we all know that my cut band couldn't make it in. He got stuck at customs, and I had to get a replacement, which, you know, I appreciate him coming in and stepping in, but I didn't have an inswell. Watch the whole fight. I never had an inswell the whole fight, which, you know, I make no excuses, but, you know, we were headbutting, and but that's what caused this swelling on my eye.
What was it like coming out to such animosity from the entire crowd? They were pretty vocal in being against you. How did that feel?
Yeah, it didn't feel that bad. Like I said, when I first came out, they were kind of booing me, but they were cheering. I was hearing cheers and boos at the same time. So it was a hell of an experience. It was like crazy, but I silenced the crowd pretty much. I didn't really hear the crowd too much. Like maybe when I had tripped, they had went crazy. Excuse me, but other than that, it was crazy. The fans were crazy. Hell of an experience and a dream come true of mine.
Devin, congratulations on your win, mate. Where do you think this puts you in the pound for pound rankings now that you're undisputed lightweight champion?
I mean, I gotta be, you know, high up on the pound for pound list, because if you think about it, they said the lightweight division was the best division in boxing. They said it over and over. 4 young kings, this, that, but there is only one top guy in the lightweight division. There is no more dispute, no more whatever. No matter if you like it or not, you can. I'm still
witness your son become undisputed champion, and welcome to the country, mate.
Oh, it's amazing, man. God is good. God is the greatest. I didn't think that I was going to make it. Dev, he went and signed some things. Lou helped out. Bob. It was a team effort, you know, to make this event happen as a collective. You know, the Kambosos' team. Peter Khan, they did a tremendous job working behind the scenes to make this thing happen, and we're truly grateful.
Question for both Bill and Devin back here. So it's Marcos. First for Bill, how good does it make you feel? How emotional was it to be able to see your son make his dream come true?
Absolutely. I mean, it's like a dream come true. It's still kind of surreal in the sense of this is something that Devin started, a journey he started when he was 8 years old. And to have all the belts right here, you know what I mean? I think, you know, it probably won't sit in until tomorrow or something.
And for Devin, I know you got a lot of criticism. You kind of mentioned it about, you know, the belts and how you got it. How much of a validation is this for you to kind of look at those people and just stick your middle finger at them and say, look, I proved you guys wrong?
Yeah, I mean, this is very, like, this is a great feeling that, you know, everybody that you cannot dispute any title. What it comes after everything that I have here. So this is a dream come true, and I couldn't thank God enough for this. And yeah.
Devin, if George wants a rematch here back in Melbourne or Sydney, Brisbane, if he wanted that, he was able.
You know, up to Bob, my dad, and before the fight, he told me, you know, it got to make sense, and we did. I made sure me and my team made sure that we did everything that to make sense. Whether I had to take, you know, less money, whether we had to travel, whether I had to come without my dad, you know, we made a lot of sacrifices to make the fight happen, and it all paid off.
Devin, what about Loma? Is he on your horizon? Is he someone that you want?
They're all on my hit list still. With me being the top guy, I'm still.
This question is for Devin. How does it feel to be undisputed?
I mean, it's honest for many years, and like I always thought, like, damn, I'm gonna cry. Like undisputed, like I'm gonna cry, but like it's a blessing, and thank you to the Victorian government to make this happen. Thank you Lou, thank you Bob, thank you to my lawyer John, thank you to Top Rank Lawyer, thank you to everybody that did everything to make this happen. I'm thankful.
All right, fam, that's Devin Haney chiming in, man, on his post-fight thoughts about what happened, man. It was absolutely a good fight for Devin Haney. Workman like fight, came in there and handled the business. Um, Dealt with a hostile environment. You mentioned, and I laid this out in the previews last week or early this week about the things that he did to get the unification, selling for less money than he felt like he was supposed to get, traveling half a world away to a hostile environment, 40,000 screaming people, loving on Georgia Kambosos, and other things as well. He went there, uh, represented the United States well, kind of had to deal with Kambosos talking about he was a rat and an informant, name calling. And he threw some names back at Georgie. They had beefed up the fight, and it turned out to be a one-way fight when Devin Haney turned on everything. Yeah, and also dealing with the fact that his father wasn't allowed to get into the country until late. His cut man, as you just heard, it was so many other things that was on the list. Also, Kambosos putting in the language of the agreement that he had to get that he, if he lost, would get a rematch. And then I want to say that the rematch in the language in the agreement, and Bob Arum and his crew was talking about, Lou DiBella was saying that that's more than likely is going to be back in Australia. We don't know about that. That might be renegotiated or what have you, because Devin's the guy now. He is the unified king of the lightweight division, and things have changed in the lightweight division. It's no longer whether Devin Haney is good enough for this, that, and the third. He is the guy. You got to respect his mind. People gave love and respect to Loma when he turned it on. People gave respect to Teofimo when he was able to take it from Loma, who held it for a minute. And then, of course, George Kambosos got his shine on for a little bit. So it's kind of interesting, man, to see how it goes moving forward, because the last two guys that held the well, it's not been a unified champion period. It's, like there's been with Lomachenko was pretty cool, but unified, man, that's Devin Haney all the way. And we had guys, the last two guys that had the multiple belts couldn't even defend it outside of just one fight. They had one fight, the next fight they lost it to their opponents. So it'll be interesting to see Devin Haney, man, who's one of he is the best in the lightweight class, defend those belts against all comers. So it'll be really cool to see, man, now that he's on top of the mountain. Can he maintain that ferocity? Could he have multiple defenses against quality opponents? Because from this point forward, everybody that's going to be coming at him is going to be quality opponents. So can Devin Haney do it? This is his opportunity to show the world what he's made of. So with that being said, fam, it was a pretty interesting fight. Not so much if you was George Kambosos, but in the end, might not have been too much if you was Kambosos, a guy that liked Kambosos a lot. But outside of that, man, I enjoyed the fundamental aspect of it, man, as he kicked, he was able to handle the business. All right, so Derek, what's up, bro? He says, Big Q, you're right. They tried everything to get that ball. Yeah, it was really crazy. Shout out to Dame Lillard. Yeah, that's right, John. I was just thinking about that. Dame Lillard was at the fight. Dame Lillard was representing. He went over there to show Devin Haney some support. And there was some kids yelling, and cursing at Dame Lillard. He was walking the stadium. They was telling them F you. I mean, these guys was taking it a little too far over there. So when you can stick it to them in that regard and just classically go on out and beat their guy who they was talking all this mess. But sometimes when you watch as many boxing fights and as we do, you can kind of see a lot of the rhetoric and see whether or not these guys have the skills to kind of back up what their mouth is saying. And like I said, it was a bad omen when Kambosos didn't make weight the first time, and it took him 2 hours to go back and make weight after all the training he was doing. It's weird because the fighters are constantly especially when you're getting closer to the fight, constantly weighing themselves to make sure that they're there, because they can jeopardize all of the working out that they're doing, all of the hard work that they're doing, just because they can't make weight. So that's something you focus on. Even Devin Haney said that. He said, you're not a professional if you can't make weight. That was a bad omen for Georgie Kambosos. and then it carried on to the fight with Devin Haney. Just put him in the clinic. He put him in the blender and blended him up. And now Kambosos, smartly enough, really intelligent enough, have that clause in there where Bob Arum and Lou DiBella said that the fight should be somewhere in October or November. That's right around the same time frame of the proposed potential fight that would be Crawford and Spence for the unification of the welterweight division. So listen, fam, I'm just loving it. This might be the year of unification, man. This might be the year of unification. No, John, that'll be tomorrow morning for the Pelican Post Game Report. There should be a notification that's up there tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We're doing the mocks and opening phone lines for the Pelican Post Game Report, fam. So check that out, man. Hit the notification on there, bro, if you haven't already. Thank you, sir. All right. So yes, indeed. So a lot of the great fighters. Before we dirk out, man, I'd like to give a big shout out to all the family members for staying up late for this one. But hey, man, it was fun watching the fight. Devin Haney had a lot of detractors, but he shut a lot of people up tonight. And you got to respect his mind. He is the lightweight king. He unified all the crowns, and he's sitting on top of the mountain right now. So can he maintain his ferocity and take his game to the next level where some of the greats reside and have multiple successful defenses of his crown? Can he do that? We'll see, man. I think he will take his game to the next level like he did tonight. So with that being said, man, listen, I'm a dirk out on that. I appreciate y'all staying up. Please feel free to hit the like button and become a member or join or subscribe to the Ring Kings boxing platform, man. We doing this thing, man. Of course, for the family members that have been listening to Ring Kings boxing for some time, we've been doing it for a while, like we've been doing a lot of other platform work. My former co-host, Eddie Tumaine Johnson, who was a former professional boxer, passed away last year due to C19. And I made a promise to that brother when we did Ring Kings boxing that we'll build a platform up to be one of the best in the business. With him passing away, he couldn't continue that journey. But I made a promise to that brother that I'm going to continue on in our vision. So please help me continue on and build up the platform as well by subscribing and sharing the show's link, hitting the like button, and doing positive stuff like that. So with that being said, fam, I appreciate y'all. Congratulations to Devin Haney and Bill Haney and Team Haney, man, for putting on a great fight in Kambosos. You know, you got to go back to the come back around again, my friend, go back to the scrap yard and come back out, figure out what you need to do. Because like I said, the unification bout, the second bout, the part 2 of this will be somewhere in October and November, according to what they're saying. So with that being said, I'm Dirk out on that. I appreciate y'all, man. And I'll holler at you later. Peace.